Hello? We'll wait to see people come in, see how many we can get here. Gonna make this quick because I didn't eat dinner. I'm getting hungry. I can see the scar on the top of my head. One of my cats did that years ago. Almost took my eyeball out at the same moment. I've been thinking about, maybe for my birthday, I'm gonna go get some makeup. I haven't worn makeup in years. Maybe I'll go get some foundation and some eyeshadow and some mascara and some blush and just perk myself up a little bit. 3 people in. Oh, somebody gave me a thumbs up. Well, thank you so much. We haven't even started yet. You haven't missed a thing. 5 people. Let's get it going. 2 thumbs up. Wow. It's only 1 minute and 28 seconds. I'm impressed. Thank you. Hey, Lady B. Yeah, I know. I need to treat myself. I haven't treated myself in years since the medical shit show of my life happened. Excuse my language, you two. We only got 3 people, and I think one of the little heads up at the top of the screen, I think that's my iPad communicating with my broadcast on my cell phone. So let's give it a few. Where are you coming in from tonight, Lady B, Dance Skater? Wow, 3 thumbs ups. 4 people. Hey, Christopher. Oh, Chris Draper, I'm sorry. Had you confused with somebody else. I'm just waiting to get the show started. 15, okay, now we can go. I'm April from April Davis Investigations, also known as April Davis PI. Yeah, April Davis Investigations is kind of like mostly no longer because of my medical situation, but here we go. So it is Saturday, February 21st, and in just a few hours, it'll be the 22nd, and we'll be in the 22nd day of the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Very sad. Hi, Amelia. Portland, Oregon. You're the rabbit lady. Oh, okay. Well, let's get going here. My mind is circling back to let's just scratch everything and start over again. And I still go back to one of 2 things. Either revenge against Savannah Guthrie or somebody got it for the money. No burglary gone wrong, no robbery gone wrong. And kidnappers don't stay in the house 41 to 48 minutes. It just doesn't work like that. She was abducted. She was taken, never to be seen or heard from again. She may have been deceased before she left the house, sadly. Oh, thank you. It's just my Dodger cap. Maybe it looks a little better because my hair was actually washed the night before last. So, yeah, I'm just reporting on what I'm hearing on the news, on the internet, on YouTube. And the things we hear are not always accurate. And we here, my channel, I don't accuse anybody. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty by a court of law. In the meantime, though, there's all these internet suspects that have come up, including this guy, Zack Jaghoub. It's a pretty interesting story because he worked or works for this MB, is it MB Motors in Tucson. He's not the owner. Um, there seems to be a lot of misinformation as if he was even in town the night of the Guthrie disappearance. I've seen things online where he says, hey, all I did was sell that lady and her son a car. But was that really even him, typing those messages? He claims he's out of the country. I'd sure like to know for how long. There's a lot on his social media that shows him in Tucson and Los Angeles since the dates that he claims that he doesn't actually live here anymore. But let's read this little, 22 people watching. Can I get more than 3 thumbs ups here? It'll help the algorithm. It'll show engagement. And it'll bring people into this chat. I want to get to everybody's messages, but let me read this little thing that came out today in Parade. He made a statement today with Parade magazine, and the article is titled, Who is Zack Jaghoub? The man the internet linked to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance speaks to Parade. And it goes on to say, if you've been following the Nancy Guthrie case, you will probably recognize the name Zack Jaghoub. Now, his real name is Sadan Hamad El Jaghoub. He's supposedly from Amman, Jordan. He also has ties to Kuwait, Dubai, Tucson, Los Angeles. He's even been in Miami. Hey, Nancy, welcome in. They just recap the story, and then he's going to make his little statement here. And it says, Guthrie, 84, went missing on Sunday, February 1st, and authorities believe that she may have been abducted from her Arizona home in the middle of the night. On February 13th, a raid took place at a home not too far from Guthrie's home. Yes, that was in Shadow Hills at the Daly estate. Additionally, authorities detained a man who was driving a Range Rover. True. The car was marked with evidence tape and towed at the request of law enforcement on the scene. True. The internet looked at photos and videos of the Range Rover and noticed that there was a license plate cover on the car. It was actually a license plate rim from MG Motors in Tucson. That's true. I saw it. From there, some people went to the MG Motors Instagram page, found a photo of a Range Rover from September 2025, went through the likes on the post, and found Jaghoub. Some people also noticed that the account was following Jaghoub, whom some people say looked like he could be the person under the ski mask of the subject standing on Guthrie's front stoop the night that she went missing. He does look like that a little bit. In fact, the lady in Houston who does the crime sketches, she drew a picture that looks just like him, except the guy in her picture had a different hairstyle because, the head was covered by a ski mask. Now, that picture looks like a lot of people, so we're not accusing Jaghoub. On Saturday, February 21st, Jaghoub spoke exclusively with Parade in an effort to clear his name after more than a week of harassment and nasty messages from people accusing him of crimes he knew nothing about. Jaghoub, 40, did in fact work at MG Motors in Tucson, which is owned by his friends. However, he tells me that he's living in Jordan and hasn't lived in the United States since 2019. Let's get some thumbs ups here. We only got 15 people watching. Now, he may not have lived here since 2019, but he's definitely been in the country because, he's very prevalent on social media. He's got Instagram. He's got TikTok. Apparently, he's on Snapchat. I haven't looked at Snapchat in years. And he says, I'm going to be honest with you. These people are stupid. They don't have a sure confirmation that Zack drove that Range Rover or owned that Range Rover. There's no documents. There's no papers. I'm not even inside the country. But somebody, one of these internet sleuths, went online and supposedly was sending messages back and forth with him where he said, I sold that car to a lady and her son, and I'm now out of the country. Now, those messages could have been faked just for a social media video, and that wasn't really him communicating with that person, but it did have his name, Zack Jaghoub. People are just listening to YouTubers or some people that don't know anything, he adds, explaining how his name was brought up after the Range Rover was taken into evidence for reasons that weren't made clear to the public. It's true. Hasn't been made clear to the public. Jaghoub tells me that authorities never spoke with him and that his name seems to be circulating thanks to social media users jumping to conclusions because he appears to fit the bill. He has a goatee, and some say his eyes look similar to the person in the mask standing at Guthrie's front door. That's true. Jaghoub, however, doesn't see it at all. Jaghoub also points out that the Range Rover that's on the MG Motors Instagram account isn't even the same type of car, let alone the actual car from the police activity on February 13th. I understand that. But you've got somebody online claiming to be him who allegedly sold that car privately on Craigslist. Okay, not the car that's on MG Motors page, their Facebook page in September, but the car that was actually towed away by the police or the FBI on Friday the 13th. So I see what he's saying, but it still wouldn't clear him off of a list, if there even is a list. I asked Jaghoub if he had ever heard of the Guthrie case prior to receiving messages from people trying to pin him to the crime scene. He had not. I know one thing. I slept on Friday. I woke up on Saturday. I found myself with thousands of people following me on Instagram, adding me on Facebook. They're adding me on Snapchat for no reason. People sending me messages saying, "You are guilty. You are this. You are dead," he said. It's actually kind of funny if it's not him, which I don't think it is. Jaghoub said that people ran with the rumor that someone shot themselves in the Culver's parking lot and they believed it was him. He said he didn't know anything about that raid or that particular Range Rover or a white van that was seen nearby. That's true. There was a white van and an alleged unaliving of a passenger in a white van. But none of that has ever been confirmed. He says, I didn't sell the car. I didn't own the car. Nobody pulled me over. People saying that the sheriff pulled me over. There's other people that said I killed myself. I shot myself inside a white van. I don't know what the white van is. Still until this minute, as I told you, they're talking about me, he said. Jaghoub said that the authorities did go to MG Motors on Saturday and spoke with the owners, but his name was never brought up. The Guthrie case is heading into its fourth week, and authorities have yet to name a suspect or person of interest. You know, maybe this guy should hire the same lawyer, Jesse, that Carlos Palazuelos has hired. I mean, it's almost comical at this point. But let's get back to the actual seriousness of this. A woman was taken out of her home, either murdered at the home, abducted from the home. I don't think she's alive. I don't think these ransom notes are legit. They're not written by the same people. Some could be a red herring. Some could just be people trying to get money. The guy in LA that was sending the texts, apparently to Annie and Tommaso, he's since been arrested. And those were copycat texts or copycat demands. But they were texts to their own personal phones. Even Tommaso's phone apparently got those texts. How did they have Tommaso's phone number? How did they have Annie Guthrie's phone number? That's kind of weird. Like the guy in LA that was, sending the copycat text. How the heck did he have the family's phone numbers? There's still a question as to why an Uber was called to take Annie or Nancy Guthrie to Annie Guthrie's that night. Now they're saying that Tommaso was at band practice. Apparently they only have one car. They got that big mortgage to pay on that big house on a school teacher's salary with only one person employed. This lady, apparently, she likes to get her own mail, but she has to use the cane and she has to have assistance walking down the driveway. So, Ubers usually don't pull up into your driveway. They pull up right in front of your, like the curbside. So they stop on the street. So unless they told the Uber driver, like, hey, pull into the driveway, I don't know how she would have walked out of that house down that long driveway and got into an Uber. I think it's kind of sad that, they were like, hey, mom, come over, but, we're sending an Uber for you. Or did she call the Uber herself, But then they drove her home because apparently now they have, Tommaso's home for dinner and they have the car back. You got to go back to the beginning of this. You got to go to the most obvious. I think the answers are right in front of them. They just need to open their eyes. I think the most important timeline is the first 24 to 48 hours in this case, where a lot of things were lost while someone was, being a media star. And we know who that was. When was I born? I was born where or when? I can't tell you my age online, but thanks for asking. Um, I've already seen, oh, Nancy, I said hi back. I hope I did. I've just been rambling here. Got 25 people watching, only 6 thumbs up. Let's give a thumbs up. Let's give some red hearts. Let's get these into the chat. I can't say the year. I'm at that age where I'm too old to give out my age. Yeah. But you can guess in the chat all day long. Now, I did mention yesterday, if you saw my live yesterday, that if anybody wants to send emails or they want to send something to the business address, that's fine. And I did get several emails last night, started coming in. And somebody said, hey, you're not answering. Are you getting these emails? Like, yeah, I'm getting them, but there's a lot. And I have to say that although some were completely normal, some were a little creepy. Don't be offended if you send something and they don't get back to you right away. Just saying. Oh, thank you, Stephen. Hi, Isabella. How are you? So if you guys are new here, I hope you're subscribed to my channel. I hope you're hitting that thumbs up. I have a whole video series that started on this on February the 2nd. I've done 1 to 2 videos a day, every day, except for February 6th. As most of you know, I had a lithotripsy procedure on my left kidney that day and was under anesthesia. So there was no report on the 6th. But I did get right back on the air on the 7th. So if you'd like to go back and see all of this from the beginning, please feel free to do so. I really need the watch hours. I'm not a monetized channel, but if I could get enough hours in, I could reapply. So that would be great. I have enough subs. I'd like to have more subs. Obviously, I need more subs, but I have enough subs to apply now. I just don't have the watch hours. So, if you just want to watch my videos and have them, on loop in the background, that would be great because my watch hours have dramatically increased since I started reporting on this case. And I think it's because I'm talking about something that I actually know. I don't know about this case in particular because I'm not working for anybody connected to this case, but I am a private detective. So, I do know what I'm talking about here, that this was not a typical kidnapping, if it even is a kidnapping. It's not a botched burglary or robbery, in my opinion. She was a target, and there's only 2 reasons. Somebody was trying to get revenge or money from Savannah Guthrie, or someone was just trying to get money. Now, I think there's more than one person involved because the mastermind behind this probably, you know, hired his own goons or her own goons. It could be a man, it could be a woman. And we're not pointing the finger at anybody, but somebody hired the goons to go out, and those goons were not professional. you know, you don't just go up there and be shocked by a Nest doorbell camera and then turn around and pick up some leaves or flowers, dried flowers in the bushes and start smearing it all over the camera. I mean, that's just not professional. The backpack was full. Burglars don't bring full backpacks to crime scenes. They bring empty backpacks. They bring empty totes or luggage or suitcases, something that they can carry the loot out. Burglars, they do everything quick. Robbers do everything quick. Um, Kidnappers don't stay in a house 41 to 48 minutes. It just doesn't work like that. Um, Unfortunately, I think the sheriff has dropped the ball here. By the time the FBI arrived several days later, they already missed the window of opportunity. I hope that something is found. I hope that she is found. I'm not a psychic, but in my mind, I keep seeing water. I keep seeing like mountains and water. I don't know why. I don't know what that's about because I'm not a psychic. I mean, I do have my spidey senses, but I am seeing water. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong about all of this And this woman is sitting in somebody's home and she's alive and she's being fed and she's getting her medication. But I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Somebody would have shown proof of life if any of those notes were legit and she was legitimately kidnapped. And that's why the family hasn't paid the ransom, in my opinion, because they know that those notes are all BS. But that's just my opinion. That's my humble opinion. Barefoot Annie, I do too. Let's see. Vicky says I agree with you. June. Oh, June. I'm April. Nice to meet you. I think I've seen you before, June Reader. Me too, Vicky. Barefoot says I do too. Julie says I think I saw lightning on one backpack to make it hard to see the face. Am I correct? Actually, that was like here's a lipstick. Now imagine this is a flashlight, and my hands have boxing gloves on them, so I can't pick anything up. And I go like this. That's the light of the flashlight bouncing off against the lens of the camera. At first I saw that, I couldn't figure that out either. And then it was like, oh, the person has a flashlight in their mouth. That's what that was about. Vicky says, oh my God, I hope and pray that she's alive, but we're dealing with a timeline. Yeah. We're starting the 4th week, in a few hours. Because remember, this was late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. So yeah, we're starting the 3rd. Well, we're ending the 3rd week and we're starting the 4th week tomorrow. Yeah, because tomorrow's the 22nd. And where I am right now, tomorrow is less than 4 hours away. In Phoenix, or I keep saying Phoenix tonight, I don't know why. In Tucson, it's 9:05. So yeah, we're almost at the 3-week mark in just another 3 hours. I have 30 people watching right now. That's amazing. I'm just like so thankful for all of you. Please give me a thumbs up. Please hit those red hearts or the smiley faces, whatever you can hit to like boost the algorithm on this. It really has helped my channel a lot because I think people are watching back some of the other videos, or they're watching these videos on the replay, or they're going to my playlist and they're seeing all the other things that I put on YouTube. This is not just a true crime channel at all. I'm getting more towards news, but there's all kinds of things, all types of goodies to watch on my channel. Oh, thank you, Vicky. You liked and subscribed. I appreciate that. Every person counts. It helps a lot. Julie says, hit your like, everyone. Well, thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. Yeah, wow. A lot of people. I did, it was on a Sunday. I'm trying to remember if it was last Sunday or the Sunday before. Yeah, so much has happened. I think it was the Sunday after my surgery, the 8th. I did a live. Yeah, it was during the Super Bowl. It was at the end of the Super Bowl, and I thought nobody's going to come in because everybody's watching the Super Bowl, and the only people to be following this case are probably in the United States. And I had over 3,300 people, not at any one time, but throughout that video, over 3,300 people came in and checked in on the live chat. I think at the most I had like 70, 80 people at one time. But I never had a video like that in my life. And the last 5 minutes of the Super Bowl, when I'm sure everybody was watching the Super Bowl, that's when I started the video thinking, I'm going to have like 2 people in here, me, myself, and I, and the iPad. And it blew up. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen. And since then, I've gotten more subscribers. I think in the last few weeks, I've gained over 200 subscribers. Now, for a big channel, that would be awful. But for a small channel like me, it's wonderful. I just need to get my 4,000 watch hours so I can reapply and basically start all over again. Vicky says, we need to get these people to pay attention to this. Yes, a lot of the mainstream media, the story is going cold. And, they, at one time, they had an additional 400 FBI agents in Tucson. Now I'm hearing that there's only a few hundred people that are working on this case, including the sheriff's department. I don't think they had the manpower that they had even a week ago. I mean, they can't have all these people out there forever if the leads are starting to dry up. Some of the big YouTubers are still out there on her street, but they can't stay forever either. They're going to have to go home at some point. They're all going to have to pack up their tents and their gears, and they're going to have to go home and go back to their lives. And You know, the mainstream news, they have to report on other stories that are happening in the world. Um, this eventually, the leads will go cold, and this will dry up. And I think the sheriff's department, they're just waiting for additional DNA to come in. I don't think they have anything to go on right now. Are are you on Whatnot? You look familiar. Yes, I am on Whatnot. In fact, I just did a live. Was it Thursday? And I hadn't done one since like December. Just because of, I've had two surgeries already in 2026, one in January and one in February. And so I was pretty jacked up, and I was just like, I have to put Whatnot aside. But I do have a Whatnot account under April Davis PI, the same as my YouTube, the same as my Facebook. You'll see April Davis PI on there, and I do have an open marketplace. So you can always go into my marketplace even when I'm not live. And if you're not on Whatnot, just go to one of my Whatnot lives and scan that QR code on your screen, or go to the link in the video description, and Whatnot will give you $15 on them to spend just for using my code to sign up. So, not trying to sell you anything. I'm just saying if you want, 15 free dollars and you want to buy something in, my store or somebody else's store, go for it. Free money is free money. Sam says, watch JLR live stream 2 days ago. Someone left cryptic note to kidnappers. It was creepy, like from them warning things you may not like what happens as something from fellow sinner. I have no idea what that is about. I've heard of that YouTuber before, but I didn't hear about a cryptic, creepy note. I know I got a weird one yesterday in my email, and it was very hard to see. Like somebody took a picture of a note that was kind of weird. I'm going to have to try to blow that up and print it out and see what it says. Aragon says, you already follow me. Oh, on Whatnot or on YouTube? Or hopefully both, Aragon Charm. June Reader says, with all the cameras everywhere, this is not making sense that law enforcement is so clueless, or are they? I thought that too. Maybe they just weren't showing their hand. But now I'm really thinking that the guy is effing clueless as far as Christopher Nanos, because, the scene was it's a very important crime scene, and it was unsecured very quickly. Then, when the FBI came out, then they had to re-secure it. Then they had to unsecure it. And all these people, these reporters and YouTubers and pizza guys and Amazon workers and the Postal Service, and everybody was traipsing on that crime scene. And, ridiculous that house should have been just sealed. They could have put a fence around that house from day one. They've gone back to it so many times. And if anybody ever does get charged with this and the case goes to court, unless they've got a slam dunk case, this will be a very hard case to prosecute because that crime scene was insecure too quickly. Oh, you just saw the notification. Oh, well, you'll have to definitely see the replay. This is Kelly, my mod. Yeah, I just did a little recap. The person of interest by the internet, not by the police, but a person of interest from the internet, Mr. Zack Jaghoub of Jordan, he actually made a statement today to Parade Magazine. And we went over that statement at the beginning of the video. So you can always watch that on the playback. And it's actually, in a way, it's kind of comical because he claims he hasn't lived in the country since 2019, but he's definitely been here at times. And there's even things floating online where he was communicating, or someone claiming to be him was communicating, saying, hey, I sold that car to a lady and her son, but I'm out of the country. And now he's like, well, I haven't even lived in the United States since 2019. But you can look at his social media and see that he's definitely been here many years since then. For how long? Don't know. I'm not doing a background on this man. But it's actually comical, some of the things that he said and some of the things that have happened to him. It's almost as comical as Carlos Palazuelos. I was like, hey, maybe Zack needs to he needs to call Carlos. But, Carlos doesn't have his cell phone right now, and say, hey, who's your lawyer, Jesse? I need a lawyer. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh, it's so funny. It's not. It's sad. But, I'm going back to square one. It's not a routine kidnapping. Kidnappers don't stay in a house that long It's either somebody out to get Savannah Guthrie, or if it's someone that was targeting Nancy Guthrie personally, and had no intent to kidnap her, but intended to murder her and get rid of her body because of assets or money. And I'm not naming anybody a suspect, but you know, things are like they are. That's all I'm gonna say. With this Yahoo sheriff, though, it may never be solved. By the time the FBI got there, it was already, well, I'm not going to say the word, but a cluster F. You know what I mean. And the first 24 to 48 hours is imperative. Sam Lamb. If you're local, almost no one is looking at cards on flowers. I'm not local. I'm in Los Angeles. Also, JLR, other streamer guys had a search for tomorrow morning. Nanos told him he needs permits. They're supposed to do it anyway in the morning. You know, I heard that some searchers came up from Mexico and they were told, like, to go away. They don't want people traipsing on private property, obviously. They're like, leave it to the police. But, you know, I don't see the police searching the neighborhood right now. And apparently the helicopter over the landfill yesterday, that had nothing to do with the Nancy Guthrie case. That was a completely separate deal because everybody was like, oh my God, there's a helicopter searching the landfill. And there was a helicopter and or drone at the landfill, but it was nothing to do with the Nancy Guthrie case. Well, at least so they say, so they claim. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. 1982, when did the guy sell the Range Rover to the mother and son? See, I'd like to know that too. Was it really the next day after Nancy abducted or like a week later? I've heard both. I've heard that the car was registered to him, and that it was sold on Craigslist and not through his dealership. I don't know if any of this is true. I don't know who the car was registered to. I don't have the license plate number to look it up. Now, I wouldn't look it up because I'm not working this case officially. I do have access to the DMV and to LPRs, but I'm not working this case. So even if I had the plate, I wouldn't be looking at it. But I would hope that the police are looking at it and the FBI and finding out, you know, because they did go to the dealership supposedly the next morning, according to Zack Jaghoub. They were at his dealer where he works or worked with his friends, questioning them about that car. Supposedly the car was bought off of Craigslist, but it did have the license plate rim that had the name of the dealership. So I'd like to know everything about that car, who it was registered to, when it was sold, who it was sold to, but more specifically, why were the police interested in that? And coincidentally, you know, this all happened less than 24 hours after the girlfriend of a guy that's driving the car has been arrested and is in the police station being questioned before she's put back into the slammer for outstanding warrants. Timing is really coincidental of that. But there may be no connection. I mean, there are criminals in the world and in Tucson. There are bad things that happen in that city. Doesn't mean that that has anything to do with the Nancy Guthrie case. And we still don't know why the young man Carlos was targeted. And he even said perhaps because of who his father is. Look up his father in the National S Offender Registry. Carlos is a delivery driver that, you know, delivers in Tucson. And he has the same name as the man that's in the S Offender Registry, who is probably his dad. He said it on the news yesterday that, you know, maybe it was because of his dad. But other people said maybe they pinged his phone. Well, yeah, maybe he was. You know, he could have been on Nancy Guthrie Street delivering packages. Who knows? And as of yesterday, poor Carlos has no phone or no driver's license because it was in the case that was holding his cell phone. And Pima County Sheriff, they haven't been able to guide him or his attorney as to how to get that back. He should easily be able to walk into that police station and just retrieve that phone at the front desk, at the front counter. I don't know, you know, what their problem is in Pima County. It just, the sheriff's department seems, I don't know, they just don't have their act together, I don't think. Let's see. Hi, Nancy J. Were you in here earlier, Nancy J, or was that a different Nancy? There was another Nancy in here, I think. Or was it? I thought it was yourself. Oh, it was a different Nancy. Nancy Coton and Nancy J. Well, welcome, Nancy J. I hope you're subscribed to my channel. Hey, I got 32 people watching. Can you hit that red heart button on your screen? And I think you can just tap the screen or something. I can't see it on my end. And hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't come in from the beginning, you can always replay the video, watch it from the beginning, and you can place something in the comments. Once this is all uploaded to YouTube, it takes 24 to 48 hours for them to reload the comments, but I think you can see the video pretty soon after I go off the air. Oh, you tap the screen twice to like it. Can I do that on my own video? No, it doesn't work on my end. Okay. Thank you for tapping the screen. And most importantly, thank you for the thumbs ups. Let's keep going. And you know what? I've got so many new subscribers because of this video series that I'm doing. That I'm starting to see my watch hours go up, but I still need, I got a long ways to go to get back to where I need to be in order to reapply with YouTube, with Google. So, you know, you guys keep watching those videos. If there's another subject you're interested in, just go to my playlist and you'll see it all. Must have been a different lady. I just found you. Yeah, it was a different Nancy. Thanks for finding me. How did you find me? Did YouTube actually push this video out into the algorithm? Just curious. How did I come up? I started a video series, Nancy J, on February the 2nd, and I've done 1 to 2 videos a day, every day since February 2nd, except for the 6th, where I was on an operating table having my second surgery of the year. Yep, YouTube. Okay. Well, thank you, YouTube, for pushing me out there. Yeah, I just came on the air because I had just heard that this guy in Jordan made this statement today to Parade. And it's funny, though, because if you just put a different hairstyle on him, he looks almost identical to the sketch that was drawn by the artist in Houston that I guess she's really famous for, you know, taking little pieces of information and then drawing what she thinks somebody would look like. It looks a lot like him, but it looks a lot like other people too. And it's funny how some of these people that probably have nothing to do with this are getting pulled into this. I think they need to start going back to square one and look at their prime suspects, because there are prime suspects in this case. No matter what the sheriff says everybody is clear. Nobody's clear. Nobody's clear. Oh, but this family's clear. But nobody, you know, just nobody's clear. I'm telling you that as from an investigative standpoint, absolutely nobody is clear. June Reader says, that's how I got here. We'll go to channel and watch previous. Yeah, feel free to do so. That'll help me with the watch hours. I have a massive amount of watch hours that have come in just the last, you know, YouTube always calculates every 28 days. But I think most of those views have come since I started this series on the 2nd of February. Nancy J says, I've been following this since day one, have not, however, heard of Jordan. Oh, that was the guy, we call him Metro Man, Zack Jaghoub, also known as Jehon Hamad El Jaghoub of Amman, Jordan. He was connected to the dealership that may or may not have sold the car to the Dailies. At least it had their license plate rim on it. Yeah, he was from Jordan. But he also has ties to Kuwait and Dubai, and he's lived in Tucson. He spends time in Los Angeles, Miami. He seems to have money. It looks like he flies on private jets. And he coincidentally, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times he wears his watch on his right hand. And the person in the photo with the in the video with the ski mask appears to have something on his right wrist. But, you know, like I said, it could be anybody. We're not accusing anybody. Uh, dessert count minutes or hours or sections watched? I know YouTube counts hours. Hours watch time is counted in hours. Kelly says he would be stupid to wear something that I did a Bible to him. Okay, I'm totally lost, Kelly. Naomi, welcome. I think the guy with the mask and gloves is an albatross. Okay. Naomi, it was so bizarre with him pulling weeds to block the camera. Yes, it was. That's not something a professional kidnapper, murderer, robber, or burglar does. Not at all. This is amateur. And you think, well, if these are amateurs, how come nobody's been caught yet? Well, we don't have the best investigative team that was working this from the very beginning. By the time the FBI got involved, it might have been a few hours too late. Shadow ban. I'm trying my best to flee USA. It's getting impossible to live. Where would you like to live? I would love to live in Canada. It would probably be pretty easy for me since my dad was a naturalized Canadian. Shadow ban says it's all corruption. Lady B Dance Skater says identify. Identify what? Hi, Brittany. Sorry I missed you. Martha Woodworth. I love Nevada. Do you live in Nevada? Sant 1982. Kayla Noel Day. Do you think maybe she came forward on condition they keep her in jail with no bond so she wouldn't be found out as the rat, especially if Luke is ex-boyfriend and not boyfriend? Anything is possible. You know, in the PI business, we have a hard time believing in anything on an investigation that's a coincidence. Could it just be coincidental that she was picked up at 11 p.m. on the night of the 12th and all the raids went down the afternoon, evening of the 13th? And then she was officially in the actual Pima County Jail on the 14th. But she could have been in a holding cell at the Pima County Sheriff's Station, you know, before they actually put her in the actual jail. Yes, you do live in the regal state of Nevada. Hey, Gail Fisher. Where are you coming in from, Gail? Make sure you guys are thumbs up. I'm tired and I'm hungry. my speech isn't working right. I'm almost getting hangry. But I got to keep staying hydrated. Gail, you're in New York. Upstate or Gotham? Thank you for the red hearts. Please hit those thumbs up. I hope you guys are following me, and I hope you guys are watching all the videos on this series, or you're just watching my other videos so I can get my watch hours up and I can reapply. Lady B says, I think autocorrect changed Kelly Ray's typing to something Bible when she tried to type identify him. Okay, I figured it was something like that. Did I watch the Nancy Grace special? I did watch the Nancy Grace show that you told me to watch yesterday, but I don't know if it was a special, but I watched her yesterday. Nancy J, I'm thinking if you tape the camera, she won't open the door, but if there's already someone in the house, he leans to look through the glass to see when they're going to open the door. Upstate, says Gail Fisher, Rockland County. Yes, that's what you meant. Let's see. Well, I'm lost on that now. You could type it again, Kelly. Julie, welcome. Between Pittsburgh and Erie, Pennsylvania here. I'm in Los Angeles. Where's everybody coming in from? Eat a Klondike bar. I don't have a Klondike bar. Kelly, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You did. Did you watch the Nancy Grace special? Was that your question? I did watch the one that you told me to watch yesterday. Hey, Ross. Thanks for coming in. Where are you coming in from, Ross? Wow, 24 thumbs ups. Let's just get a couple more. Let's get it to 30 if we can. June, South Carolina. I have a cousin in South Carolina. Down in the Myrtle Beach area. Naomi says North Florida. I used to go to Florida a lot when I was a kid. Nice state. Northern California. Hello, my fellow Calian. Yeah, I heard that the Bay Area was under a winter advisory yesterday, and that hadn't happened in like 3 years. It's crazy in California right now, but next week it's going to get back to normal for us, and we're going to have like 70s and 80s. Where am I now? I'm in Los Angeles, California. Julie says, blizzard coming tonight off Lake Erie, 1 foot of snow. Ugh. Yikes. I've seen Lake Erie. I've been there when I was a kid. Cora, East Texas. Well, welcome, East Texas. Wow, we got people from all over tonight. Hit those thumbs up. If you guys didn't see the beginning, if you're just coming into this late, I just talked about one of the persons of interest by the internet, not necessarily a person of interest by the police, but a person of interest that was identified on the internet. Because, you know, some of these big YouTube channels that, as I said yesterday, are getting $100 every 10 minutes. Some of those big channels aren't always accurate. You know, they're just trying to get stuff as fast as they can, and all kinds of misinformation goes out. Anytime we try to, you know, say something, we say that this is what we've heard, this is what I've heard. Nothing is verified until I verify it. And this Zack Jaghoub of Amman, Jordan, who may be in Jordan right now, he made a statement today to Parade Magazine. And I went through it earlier online. So if you missed that, just when this is over, just go back to the beginning and you'll be able to hear Mr. Jaghoub's statement. It was actually kind of comical. Nancy says, small town Orleans, Soames Bar. We have about 2 feet of snow. Oh, I've never heard of that town. Martha Woodworth has got relatives in LA. As in Los Angeles? Did I see what you typed a minute or so ago? You know, the chat is going so fast. I apologize if I'm missing anything. Yesterday, I had some guy yelling at me saying that, like, you're not answering my question, and I'm leaving. Like, and I went through the chat over and over and over, and there was no other. I read everything I could as far back as I could scroll. No problem. I was just making sure that it's going through. Okay. Yeah, so what do you guys think? Kidnapping. Something connected to revenge against Savannah Guthrie. Burglary gone wrong. Robbery gone wrong. Homicide. Remember, the police did not initially treat this case as a missing person. They immediately called the homicide team. That very rarely ever happens in a missing persons case. There was evidence in that house that there may have been a homicide. Martha Woodworth, you're fine. I like this channel. You have a very nice voice. Oh, thank you. I'm starting to lose it. Sant 1982. This is important. Do you believe Kaylin Noel Day is a relative? It could go either way because I've heard both. Why do you think this can't be verified? Well, the family needs to come out and say something, but they're not going to speak to anybody right now. If she is a relative of Nancy, would she be called second cousin or once removed to Savannah? It would depend, because she was reportedly the grandniece of Nancy Guthrie. But then I've heard that she's related to a different Guthrie. family that's in Indiana, and that this Guthrie family that we're talking about, that they are from, the parents are from Kentucky. But Kentucky and Indiana are close. They're saying that she was related on Mr. Guthrie's side, who passed when his children were in high school decades ago, and that it was his sister's child's child, which would make it, well, a second cousin or a first cousin once removed to Savannah. But none of that has been verified. None of that has been verified. Yeah, if anybody else can let me know if Kayla Noel Day, is she really a relative? I know she has an extensive criminal record involving drugs, and she was arrested in May of 2025 with this Luke Daly for drug paraphernalia and drug trafficking in a Walmart parking lot of, I think it was in Marana. And she had missed some of her court appearances and had outstanding warrants. But the timing of her being picked up is quite coincidental. And, you know, the boyfriend or ex-boyfriend's family does live less than 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie. That doesn't mean that they're involved. Cora Brantley, thinking outside the box. When exactly was the last time anyone other than family saw or talked to Mrs. Guthrie? Was daughter and son-in-law only people at dinner with her? I don't know who else was at dinner with her. I heard they had a child. Is that true, that Annie and Tommaso have a child? I know that earlier that week she was celebrating her birthday, and I believe she had people over at her house on Friday, and they were playing games. She was entertaining on Friday. Nobody knows what she did Saturday, but until Saturday night, for some reason, they sent an Uber rather than picking her up. And then she was brought back around 9:48 by Tommaso, agreeing they weren't professionals, but the family is definitely involved. Just my opinion. You may be right, Julie. I would look at every financial document known to man. I already have looked at things that are just public knowledge. I haven't done any PI database searches, but I'm the only one reporting on YouTube about that second mortgage that Nancy took out in 2017, which there could be a logical explanation for it. And I don't like some of the explanations that I've come up with why she did that. Thought they were doing game night. Yeah, they did do game night over at Annie and Tommaso's house, but she also had a game night over at her house a few days before because it was her birthday earlier that week, apparently. Gail Fisher says, hi, I haven't been watching the news for a couple of days. What's happening to Mrs. Guthrie? Right now, nothing, sadly. They're still getting DNA off of, 3,000 gloves that they've gathered throughout Tucson. And none of those gloves may be connected. I think, they do have the DNA from somebody that was in the house, and it's an unknown male. Earlier they were saying it was a known felon. Now they're saying they have DNA of an unknown male. But that DNA isn't matching any of the DNA that's come up on these gloves. But, this lab that's in Florida is in question. Why is the evidence being sent there? It should have gone to a lab in Arizona, or should have gone to Quantico to the FBI lab. Hi, Patty. It's very sad because, the leads are going to start to dwindle down. The tip line, they're going to start to get less and less phone calls. 911, the sheriff's department, the FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. They have over 400 additional agents that they've sent to that town, but I don't think that many are there anymore. They say there's a couple hundred people working on this, but are those all from the sheriff's department? Like, how much of the FBI is even still there? I know they have a lot vested in this, but they all can't stay there forever. They can't, have that type of manpower spread out all at Tucson and not in other places. There's other crimes to investigate. Gail Fisher, so they haven't found her yet. No clues to her whereabouts yet. None that they are publicly stating. Wow, 50 people. How come I only have 27 thumbs ups? And I have 50 people watching right now. Wow. Hit the thumbs up, please. It does me a good service. It'll help the channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed, all of you. Some DNA is mixed, male and female, that needs to be separated. I heard that, Patty. Ruthie, welcome. Thank you, Julie. Asking everybody watching to hit the like. Vicky and Rico. Hi, how are you? Where are you coming in from, Vic? Wow, we got 32 thumbs up now. Let's get it going. I had 50 people in. That's crazy. That's the best numbers I've had since that live I did at the end of the Super Bowl. Ohio. Bill Weir, please understand that everyone is sad and upset, especially because of Nancy's age. Absolutely. I'm hearing that, she's very independent. And I'm the same way. I've got all these medical disabilities. I have to use a cane now myself, but I'm still independent. And I'm not 84. I'm not anywhere near 84. I'm young enough to be her daughter. And, that she would insist on even walking that long way from her front door to that mailbox that's out in the front of the property with her cane. And sometimes she needed assistance to do so. So it kind of makes it weird that, like, somebody sent her an Uber, unless they told the Uber to pull all the way up to the front door. Like, why did she have to walk so far just to take an Uber to go to Annie and Tommaso's for dinner and game night? That just kind of pisses me off. I'm sorry. June Reader said, correction, Savannah Guthrie interview. Okay, what am I missing? Bill Weir says, glad I'm 74 almost and still feel 20. Oh, can I trade anatomy, or not anatomy, but bodies with you? Like, I know this sounds weird, but I wish I still felt 20. I think the cancer I went through in 2019 and 2020 and all the subsequent side effects have just kind of wiped me out. Thank you. This story has hit me hard. I'm so sad someone did this to that dear lady. I know. She seemed like such a nice person. She seems like America's mom now, or America's grandma. I would love to have somebody like that for a mom. Vicky, why didn't her daughter go and get her for dinner? Doesn't make sense. Somebody said today that Tommaso was at band practice, but I heard that band wasn't even together anymore. And there's some creepy guy that's in that band that's the drummer that has a long criminal history as well. Like, he certainly knows how to pick them. It does make you wonder, Vicky. And I don't like the body language. I have to tell you, I am a detective and I have interviewed thousands of people in my career. And when they made those statements, the family, which they were obviously reading off of a script that was scripted for them by the police or the FBI, or even a private investigator that specializes in abductions, I did not like the body language between Savannah and the siblings. I also did not like the body language of the sister. And I think she's made 2 appearances. And I certainly didn't like the body language when they were seen driving away from their property together, Annie and Tommaso, before the FBI hooked up their car and took it away. And they were all like, don't look at me. Like, why do you have to hide? If I were in their shoes, I'd be standing on top of a mountain saying, help me find my mother. I wouldn't be acting all sus in front of a television camera. She might have wanted to walk the extra distance to stay independent. For example, I don't have Katie drop me off when we go out. I just walk from where the car parks. Apparently, she can't walk very far, though. She's that jacked up. Vicky says exactly in her face, too. June says, script exactly. Savannah, and this is important to us, not she. Jennifer, there were 2 mentions I saw that her daughter said everything was normal until her mom made a strange comment. Bill says, Jesus said nothing is hidden that won't be revealed. I hope you're right, Bill. She has a beautiful smile. Yes, she does. I'd love to have a mom like Nancy Guthrie. But I just think the body language is weird. And not by Savannah. But I'm not accusing anybody of being a suspect here or being involved. Me too, Vicky. I don't know why. I'm sad to say that because she may just be a victim herself and grieving, but yeah. Martha Woodworth says, or the bad guys always go down. They absolutely do. And I hope Savannah Guthrie has some top-notch private investigators like myself, not me personally, but somebody like me working this case. Vicky says, Yeah, I still want to know why she took out the second mortgage on the house in 2017. Yeah, it just seems like a strange thing to do when you're in your mid to late 70s and you take out a 35-year second mortgage. Maybe she needed to do some upgrades on the house. It's an older house. They bought it in 1975, and I don't think it was even brand new when they bought it in 75. It takes a lot of upkeep to keep a house like that of that size going. But she could easily get money from Savannah. I mean, heck, she didn't even have a subscription on her Nest doorbell cam. Who's been hounding her for money? Yeah, that was on Google, Vicky, about the second mortgage. I'm the only one on YouTube that's reporting that. I'm the only one, period, that's reporting that. I don't even know if the damn police and FBI know that she took out that second mortgage. And I haven't done a title search or anything on the house, but something like that doesn't just show up on the internet. There's a second mortgage that was taken out on that house. 2017. I'd like to know why. And here's another weird thing that's happened. And it happened not before she disappeared, but a couple days after, when the crime scene was not secured and anybody could have walked up to the front door. Somebody who was a supervisor, like a social worker, walked up to that door. It was a lady, and she left a business card, and it was about like elder abuse or elder care, something like that. And this person, I guess, not being aware that she was walking up to a house where there was no longer an owner because she was abducted or killed. But somebody that was involved in elder care or elder abuse or helping elders, who was a social worker, did put a business card at the front door after the crime occurred. And it was like, well, who called a social worker? 66 people. Wow. Amazing. Ruthie, I didn't hear that about the second mortgage. That is strange. It could be, she needed an upgrade to her AC and her heat and her roof, and, she needed a bunch of stuff done. And she would be too proud to ask her daughter for it. But it could have been somebody saying, hey, give me money, give me money, give me money. Good evening, April and chat. Barbara here. Hi, Barbara. The Bear Pantry Show. Let's see. I hope I didn't miss any of your messages. I'm sorry. Savannah might not have been making big bucks in 2017. Maybe it was. I think she's doing all right. Ruthie Baugh, I didn't hear that about the second mortgage. That is strange. We read that. Bill Weir, yes, keep a good doorbell system and always videos around the outside of your property to see plates on all vehicles. Yes, and cameras inside your property too, Bill. Vicky and Rico, interesting. If this was LA, we would have already heard it. Sant 1982 makes a good point. Why do you think we haven't been allowed to hear the original 911 call? Is this unusual? Here we would have heard that if this happened in LA. Kelly Ray says to pay off medical bills. Possible. I wish I had something to borrow money from to pay off medical bills. Bill Weir, we are more or less all more connected even though we don't realize it. Yes. Patty P, was someone extorting Nancy G? We don't know that. But did she contact a social worker before she died? the week before she died, and they just got there a couple of days too late? Why would this social worker, who was a supervisor, come specifically to her house? Somebody had reported something. Somebody made a report to social services or somebody that deals with seniors and came and left their card on her door. Vicky and Rico, it sounds like Annie and Tom Tom are rich. I don't think that's the case at all. I'd like to know how they qualified for the mortgage on a 6th grade teacher's salary with one person apparently working. Supposedly Annie is a poet, unless she's writing, songs for Taylor Swift or something. I don't think poets make a lot of money. Bill Weir, criminals are so foolish to believe that they can operate independently from society. Absolutely. But I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. I don't know what the police knows or what Savannah Guthrie's family knows. I'm sure, I hope. Hey, kitty. My kitty wants to go after my rabbit now because I'm live and she's getting bored. I don't know what anybody that's investigating this knows other than what's being reported. But this sheriff, man, when this is over, that guy's got to go. Yeah, it is funny, but it's kind of not. But hey, kitty, I'm live. We have 49 people from all over the country watching. Leave the bunny alone, okay? She needs another cat is what she needs, and I just can't have another animal right now. And 2 is the max anyway for this apartment complex. I would love to show you my rabbit, but she's in the hide right now. But you can go to the YouTube, my main page, and go to the playlist and just go down to pets or animals or whatever I have it titled, and you'll be able to see the cat and the bunny. I showed the bunny yesterday, or the cat. Hey! And if I go to walk over to pick up the cat, she'll hide under the sofa. So I can't, put her in a timeout. And this is the only bunny I've ever owned that does not want to be picked up. So unless she comes over here and I can put the camera down on the floor, I can't really show her while she's trying to get away from the cat right now. But she is in the YouTube channel a lot. Rabbits can live a long time. I had a rabbit that lived 11 years. They can live longer than that. Yeah, they can. And if you wonder why the camera's shaking, that's because the cat is on the coffee table right now, which is actually a very good opportunity for me to pick her up. This is Kelsa. And she is as crazy as the person she was named after. And I'm going to walk away for just a moment and put her in a timeout. So hold on. Okay, it's okay, bunny. You're fine. Sorry about that. I appreciate you guys still being here. 59 people. Yeah, she is a sweetie, but she's just, like I said, she's as crazy as the infamous person that she was named after. She is beautiful. Yeah, I think she's possessed by the spirit of the person that she was named after. Beautiful and crazy. And I love her so much. Are you okay, bunny? I'll get the treats out, then she'll come over. Bill W. says, I agree, same. Let's see. Okay, Bill Weir, I missed that. I never took 5 cents from anyone and did lots of free work for poor. I'm not sure what you're saying. As I work in my time gladly, you get more joy in giving than taking. Yes. Were you saying poor parishioner, like from your church? The bewildered police chief. I know. Well, the second day of this, while he should have been, those hours were ticking. That first 24 to 48 was ticking. He was, being, uh, a television star. And then the next weekend, he had to take a night off and go to a basketball game. You can't miss your sports games, right? Yes, Vicky, I agree. Bumbling Bob or whoever. Yeah, Chris Nano. And I wanted to be supportive. Hey, come over here so people can see you. I had several mini lop-eared rabbits. I love mine. I even housebroke him. His favorite toy was a basketball. He would roll it everywhere. Yeah, my bunny is definitely, she came already potty trained from the kill shelter. I had to go get her because they were going to kill her. And then after I got the cat, I rescued her off of somebody from Craigslist. But it turned out it was an okay situation. But then a month later, I started having my heart ailment that was supposedly, according to the doctors, caused by my cancer treatment that I had in 2019, 2020. So that poor cat, she's had to have like so many different people come in and take care of her while I was in the hospital like 16 times. They've been through it. So just pray I stay alive and I stay well enough to stay in my home and take care of her. If I could get enough people watching my videos again and I could get monetized, then it would certainly help. It would help them. It would help me. So keep watching those videos. Keep subscribing. Keep hitting those thumbs up. Sending those red hearts. Most rabbits train you. Yes, they pick a corner and you should put the box there. Yeah, they do like to rearrange their furniture, don't they? Julie says, keep your chin up, lady. I'm trying. It's been hard. And today baseball season started. It was the first day of spring training. It was in Arizona, and the Dodgers just, cleaned up. Now, it doesn't mean anything because it's spring training, but it was kind of nice to see that. Oh, I think she's coming over. Hold on, everybody. Let me turn the camera. Hi. Hello. Oh, thank you, Ruthie. Trying to get her to look up. I don't want her to eat this cord that's attached to this, because this is like a $40 cord, and she'll eat it in like 2 seconds. Let me turn it back. Oh, there you go. So you can see her. She's so sweet. Thank you for being a faithful watcher, Ruthie. Yeah, isn't she sweet, Julie? Spicy hay, exactly. You're definitely a bunny person if you know that saying, spicy hay. And she loves spicy hay. Oh my God. And she's devoured the internet twice and it took seconds. And in my place, if the internet goes down, the TV monitor goes down, the doorbell, that's my security, goes down, everything is connected to that internet. She wants her. This is oat groat. And she can have just a little smidge a couple times a day. And I call it her crack. She would kill for this. I have to hide it from her because she knows how to take the lid off. See, there's some damage to the lid. Yeah, she did that, and I found her head in it one day, and I was like, oh my God, how much did you eat? Because, bunnies can go into stasis so quick. But my other bunnies were like puppies, where they would just jump in my arms. I would come home and call their names, and they just run to the front door like a dog and jump in my arms and lick my face and sleep with me and do everything with me, eat with me, like be sitting on my shoulder while I'm trying to eat, She's not like that. She does not like to be handled. And in fact, her shelter date of birth was on February 27th, but that wasn't her real birth date. It was just an approximate. And I just thought about that yesterday, like, oh my God, like her approximate date of birth that they designated for her was February 27th, 2022. So this coming week, besides my PI anniversary on the 24th, Bunny is going to be 4. Yay! I'd love to get her some more toys. She doesn't seem to be a toy person, and I'm just wondering if I'm buying her the wrong things. If anybody has any recommendations for rabbit toys, send me some messages on that. Let's see. Lady B says, yeah, and that is so stressful and exhausting. Happy birthday, Bunny. I know, it's her birthday. We don't, in the vet, the bunny specialist that saw her thought that maybe she was born in early March, but the shelter had her as February 27th, and they said that's only approximate. She was rescued from the Mar Vista horde, and then she was taken to the West Valley shelter, and she was known as Rabbit 8. And all 8 of them were going to be put down within the next 24 hours, and all I could do was take one, but the other 7 did get rescued by a bunny group that came in and got the other 7. But she was the only one out of the 8 that got taken to a home. Does she enjoy remodeling cardboard boxes? Well, the answer is yes. And we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. This is her favorite thing to play with, including the cat. And these were little windows in the side, but she decided to make them bigger because they're like little escape hatches. She needed to have 3 doors instead of 1. And between her and the cat, this thing is total toast. It's just garbage in my living room. She needs another one. They're $20 on Amazon. Oh, Kelly says, I'm going in for sleep study number 2 tomorrow night. Wish you luck. I do wish you luck. I hope you can actually sleep. I need to do one of those, but I don't think I would be able to sleep. Lady B, yeah, they are structural engineers, but really do love those free things the most. I know. She loves this. I even tried to use tape, but I didn't want her to chew the tape, so I kind of put it back. Look, it has no bottom anymore. It had a bottom that was like a cat scratcher. The bottom is gone. There's nothing left. It's and this whole side has collapsed. So I definitely need to get her one of these, and then in like 10 minutes she's gonna have the sides chewed out. But and she likes her litter box a certain way. It has to be the way she wants it. But you know what? I've talked enough tonight. I appreciate everybody that's come in. I need to cook some dinner before it's time to take my night heart meds. So give me a thumbs up. I hope you're subscribed. Hit those red hearts. If you missed the beginning where I made the little, well, I kind of recapped what Zack Jaghoub said to Parade Magazine today. Go back to the beginning. If you haven't seen the whole video series, just go to my live tab. Go to my main channel page. See all my playlists, and it'll show you all the different groups of videos that I have about different subjects. And, oh, you meant aren't engineers. Okay. What? Use an Amazon box or get a box for free. I fold the flaps in and put them on their side or upside down with the start of a door. Yeah, that's what she has actually in her little house. She has one, I call it her hide, and they made it when she was just a baby, and it's still in one piece, believe it or not. But the one from Amazon where I spent the money on, that's the one she destroyed. I will come back on the air, not tonight, but anytime that there is an update on this case. I want to keep this case in the news. I mean, I know there's plenty of us reporting on it, plenty of us, well, I'm not an amateur sleuth, I'm actually a professional detective, but I'm afraid that this case is, within the next week, it's just going to be stone cold. Hello from Houston, Texas. Hi, Angie. I'm just getting ready to go off the air. I've been on for almost 80 minutes now. Please go back and watch this from the beginning. I appreciate everybody that's been here tonight. It really will help my watch hours. I need to get those hours up so I can get remonetized. I do have links on the main channel page. If anybody ever wanted to send something to the channel, they can. I've got my email address, my business address, and all my links. and I am on eBay and Whatnot. So if you guys ever, want to sign up to Whatnot and get a free $15 to spend on me, go for it. It's paid for by Whatnot, and they'll give it to you. Put it in your account just for using my code if you've never signed up before. But I'm going to go have something to eat. Everybody have a good evening. I appreciate you coming in. Thanks for coming in, my mod. And I hope your sleep special or your sleep, whatever you're doing, the study, that it goes well.